See, this is one of the concerns, is that yada yada yada. We must give you a notice. That you're in default. There must be a grace period, or a specified period of grace, 31 days, blah 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 blah. Effectively, you've got to be given an opportunity to remedy it. Now, the way I became aware of this one, initially there was a situation at the end of 2021, and my housemate lost his job, and then I had 2 weeks not unpaid, then I lost my job, and so there's 2 or 3 months where I was short on the mortgage, but eventually my housemate fixed me up, and so I knew it was going to be good, so I remedied that at the time. Now I can remember then them saying, oh no, it's a default, but I paid the amount. This would have been it was around the middle of 2022, so I spoke to them on the phone, and I thought, because I'd been going in and paying cash, right, because of all the problems with the app and all sorts of dramas, I thought, perhaps they've miscalculated, because they haven't calculated something that I've gone in and paid cash for. So at the time, I looked at it, I had the app still working, right? So I went through it, and I went through, this was from, was it January 2021, so the 2nd of January through to the 28th of June 2022. It's about 6 months worth, right? Now, I'll take a picture. So at that time, I discovered there was a letter from Piper Alderman, $476. I was like, what the hell? But I had paid in that 6 months $750 in default fees as at the 8th of July 2022. I was in arrears, they said $608.94. So I was actually $141.06 ahead, were it not for the default fees and this letter that I never received. Right, so it'd actually be an advance, were it not for the default fees, and this is one particular. So I actually spoke to a lady on the phone at the time. This is what my interest rate was then. I spoke to a lady, and I said, look, I've looked at it, and if I've never received this letter, so I don't want to pay for that. And if you take the default fees off, take the cost of that legal letter off that I never received, I'm ahead by $141, so I'm not in arrears. And she just went, no. I said, okay, well, look, I'd like to speak to your supervisor. Now, I never heard back from that lady, and so I just kept going, kept paying my mortgage. That was halfway through 2022. All right, fast forward to, it was the end of July, and I got on my bike, and I was in the garage, and I was just pulling out the front, and my housemate come home, and he goes, this is out the front on the ground. He found this bit of paper on the ground out the front. He said it was under a rock out the front on the path, not in an envelope, and he was waving it about. I mean, what it is it's all publicly available information. Anyone can get the information that's on here by just requesting this title search. And so he was waving about, going, it says it's taking the house. I was like, what? I said, no, I'm going in paying cash. I haven't said a word. And he's like, what's I said, no, there's some mistake. So I went out. I was like, no, all right, don't worry about it. I've been going and paying cash. So anyhow, I don't know what he did with the letter. I didn't see how nice. I went in the next day to pay. I was going and pay the mortgage. And I said, so I went to do it. And I said, by the way, I reiterated the story. So my housemate was waving this bit of paper around. I said, there must be some mistake, because I've been coming in here paying every fortnight. No one said anything. They're like, oh, and everything seemed fine. They kept looking at the computer, and then so they dug in further back and went, oh, hang on, no, it looks like it might be, you might be quite a bit behind from ages ago. I said, why hasn't no one's told me? Well, I've been coming in here every fortnight. They're like, yeah, we'll recognise your face. And I was like, strange. So anyhow, they eventually, it was difficult. We eventually got Michael Whiting to call back, who's like their credit guy or something, but it took 3 or 4 phone calls from the branch to get through the emails, and eventually he rang back, and then I got to sit in a little room and talk to him, and it was, by that time, it was a girl I spoke to first, actually, and it must have been 4:30, 5 o'clock, and at some stage, because she was saying, oh, it's a long road, I said, what are you talking about? I said, I've been coming in every fortnight, nobody said a word. I've been paying the mortgage. They came up with some figure like, oh, it's like $12,000. I said, how could it possibly be that? And I explained what I'd been paying, and they sort of, it just didn't make any sense. And I said, well, how much money have I borrowed? tell me, and the amount they gave me was higher than what I had actually borrowed. I said, okay, and how much money have I paid Beyond Bank back? And they said, oh, well, we don't have that information. I said, well, hang on. I said, you must be lying at this point, because you have to have that information. If you're saying I owe X amount, you must know what I've paid back. No, I said, well, all right, at this stage, you're lying. Who are you? I said, because I'm in the branch. They're there, I'm wearing the uniform. I don't know who you are on the phone. And then this Michael gets on. And long story short, it got to nearly 5 o'clock and I was getting kicked out of the bank, and he was sort of scared. He was going, can you pay $12,000? I said, I don't know where you've got this $12,000 from. And I explained that as the last I knew, I wasn't actually in arrears. This was a conversation that I'd had. And no one had said anything. I said, you're coming in every fortnight. I've been paying cash over the counter. Perhaps it hasn't gone through. I've got receipts. I haven't got receipts for all of them, because if I didn't have an app or something just to show, they didn't always give me a receipt, and I would be like, oh, well, don't stop anyone putting money in my account, and I would just pay. So they go, oh, you go and check that. And the guy was very strange. He couldn't give me any information from more than 15 months earlier. I said, can I have a copy of this paperwork, which you suppose, because I didn't have even this with my housemate. It ended up, he dropped it in a thing in the hallway. I didn't have bloody seen it. It folded into an esky bag. Point was, the guy couldn't find it. And so I had nothing to go on. And I said, well, can they give it to me in the branch? He goes, no, they can't. I said, well, whatever you've sent me out, can I have a copy of all that, please? I've not been getting mail. I've had heaps of problems with mail. Hadn't received licences, hadn't received heaps of dramas. Oh, no, they can't do that. I was like, oh, and in the end, it was like I was getting kicked out of the branch. And he was going, what's your intention? Can you pay $12,000? I said, no. He asked me if I can pay $12,000. I haven't got $12,000. What's my intention, Michael? My intention is, well, you tell me what my intention is. I've been coming in every fortnight and paying my mortgage. What's my intention? My intention was to keep going forward. That was my understanding. So he's like, well, come. And my phone was stuffed at the time. And he's like, well, come back in tomorrow and I'll have paperwork for you. I said, okay, great. So I left. I wasn't, stoked, but I came back the next day thinking I was going to get paperwork. Because this is how it was found out on the road. And it said, enforcement on this in August, blah, blah, blah. So the next day, the paperwork that he gave me, it's in the room. All it was an envelope with a application for financial hardship, which we hadn't discussed, and it just said, I'll help the member fill this in. And then the girl there said, I'll just take it home. And I was like, well, that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting the default, whatever they're talking about with this Phil's paperwork. Wasn't there. The next day I went back, and it was a couple of days of doing that, and just to get this guy's details. I never got anything else. All I actually got from him, because I set up a PO box, because I'm like, I'm not receiving mail. I've got all sorts of problems. He sent it into my PO box, and I had bugger all money, and I paid for a PO box. Hang on a sec. Yeah, so this is what I got at the bank the next day. There was no date, right? It was just this little sticker, help the member number do this, right? But they were reluctant to do that because it was near the end of the day, and they're like, I'll just take it home. And this is all it was. And they put my straw man name on these, and that was it. So that's the only thing I got in writing from Beyond Basis. I was like, can you give me everything that I should have? Oh, that cut off while I was explaining all that. Interesting. Got to the 1st of August, all right, other than getting really sick, like I got something that messed me up. No one turned up. No one turned up to do apparently this, what they were saying, right? With this here, I had looked at it at the time and I was like, what the... because eventually I found it. A few days later, it turned up. And what this is a thing to the... It's just telling the police that this is around about this time as well, is when I started getting harassed like hell, like just non-stop, every time by the cops. It's real not very nice stuff. They were, it seemed as though, okay, this makes sense. So this is supposed to have started, it says. This is like person to the 27th of December somehow. It's supposed to be from something that happened, an order on the 10th of... It says it on this, on the 10th of May, apparently, but it looks like, here you go, yeah. In this action on the 10th of May 2023, it was ordered that the applicant, blah, blah, blah. Well, when was it signed? And when was the actual court date? Because I'd done it. On the phone to Michael in the Beyond Bank at the time, I said, well, if there's been a court, I didn't get an opportunity to sound peace. Well, you need to be giving me a chance to remedy it. You can't just, you give me notice. You haven't given me notice. And he was like, oh, we're confident that it's got... I said, you've not given it to me. My housemate's picked this up, not even in an envelope, out the front of the house. I don't even know if it's legitimate. And at that point, I hadn't even seen this. And it's like, I'm just losing the track. I said, anyhow, this year, the 10th of May, I suppose this is supposed to happen. When I brought that up, he goes, I said, we'll go to court. He's no, no, doesn't need to. So he kind of acknowledged that, no, it hadn't actually been to court, but we've done everything legally, is what he said to me. I said, well, it hadn't been to court, right? He didn't want to go to court. No, I didn't need to go to court. I said, well, has it been to court? Because I need an opportunity. He goes, no, we can. Eventually, we were sort of talking it through. But I was realised at that point when he was just saying, can you pay $12,000? And they didn't have the figures right. They didn't know how much I'd borrowed. They didn't know how much I paid back. Now, it could only give me 15 months previous. And I'm thinking, well, have I already been, is it like an in-house or pretend in-house? It's like a debt recovery type thing, separate to Beyond Bank. And so that I twigged to that towards the end of the call, and I said, am I still, because they were trying to get me out of the bank. And I was like, am I still a member? Am I still a customer of Beyond Bank? And he was like, yes. I said, okay, thank you. And I left, right? Anyhow, then going through everything, I realised, oh, shit, I was actually Community CPS Australia, and they changed to Beyond Bank, but I've already kind of covered that. So these crew didn't rock up. No one turned up on this day, right? 1st of August, after all this. I was like, okay. And as I was going through things, I was like, well, I think the whole thing is a bit of a scam, because it's like I couldn't find that anything actually happened here. I saw this straight away, and I'm like, oh, that's dodge. I realised that you got to sign and seal orders, so that happens after the thing. So it wouldn't, if on the 10th of May, nothing had been signed or sealed, for them to start in this order, on this action, as at who firstly, as I brought up a number of times, and when and why, because there was nothing leading up to this. And obviously this is straw manned out and blah, 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 blah. So when no one turned up here, I was like, oh, okay, well, I think it's actually a bit dodgy. And then I paid for a PO box, $130. And it was one letter I've gotten from Mike, and it was just about, we've rejected your application for this, which I never applied for. And I was thinking, I was thinking, well, it's bizarre, but I was like, maybe the whole thing was just it was like a bluff or a scam or something, because they I don't know, because I've been paying the mortgage cash, and I was like, well, no, they're just trying to take people's homes. It was bizarre. I'm thinking, is it a scam? My housemate turned out to be a real dodgy bastard. He's gone, thank goodness. I was thinking, you start thinking all these things, because this is all publicly available information. Anyhow, fast forward to all of a sudden, on the 6th of November, there's a knock at the door, and it says, oh, it's on the sheriff, blah, 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 and this is Brenda. So I said, what? You said, oh, yeah, well, it's warrant, we've got a warrant, possession of land, you blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, no, you're going to be noticed. They said, oh, it's 5 to 10. It's 10 a.m. it starts. I said, what's the time? He goes, 5 to 10. I said, you can't give me 5 minutes notice. So I argued, you're trespassing off the land, you've got to give me actual notice. This is ridiculous. Then they said, well, call the police. I said, well, what? You've got no lawful reason to be here. I said, I've been speaking with Michael at Beyond Bank. They said, you haven't paid your mortgage since December. I said, that's nonsense. It was July I was last in there seeing them, and I've been paying it up until then. It was only when trying to clarify who my mortgage was with after that date when I realised it was Community CPS Australia. So it wasn't from December, it was late July. So the information they had was wrong, right? But then they're like, they call the police, and the police say, we've got a warrant for your arrest because of this dodgy, because apparently, when they smashed me off my bike a month earlier, they've used that as an excuse to then break into my house. So I've said, well, I'll come out on the condition that you show me the warrant. Show me the warrant. I need the warrant for the possession. I need to see the orders, and I need this warrant that you're talking about for arresting me. What for? And then the cops are, so if we get you a copy of the warrant, can we just show it to you on a tablet? I said, I'd like the original, but just something. I need to see it. You need to show me something. And he walked off, and as he walked off, they just got a locksmith, bam, and I was telling them they were trespassing. They came in, smashed the shit out of me. I had my backpack on. They just let me walk out, because I had my mortgage in my hand. I had all this stuff in my backpack as far as the bank stuff, my phone, my keys. Instead, they just smashed the shit out of me in my driveway, my hallway. Absolutely caned me. I'm still sore from it, and there was a 20-something, today is the 27th of November, and this happened on the 6th. I'm still sore. My left arm's buggered still. Anyhow, I never got They never gave me the order or the warrant. Instead, I got arrested, taken down to Christie's Beach. They took my backpack, my keys, my phone off of me out the front, brought them back in, apparently locked them in the house. And then I wasn't not allowed to go to my house until for like a week. Except when they finally let me out of the police station, I came back here straight away and then got arrested. A whole bunch of cops, rude as. They took me back down to Christie's Beach and left me there just so they could update the bail address. I'm going to explain that another time. This was just quickly about this. And I've already explained, I did not even get this paperwork here until a week after that forced eviction, break-in, assault situation, right? So that was on the 13th of November. I got these after all this stuff's gone down. So none of this like notice thing that they're supposed to do. None of that happened. And this is the other just strange bit, and I'm trying to quickly spit out. I'm going fast. I'm really not in the mood. I'm a little bit late for something I'm supposed to go to. I've just gone through. Hang on a second. So a few days after it happened, I was smashed. Lots of pain, and my mum took me to the domain. It was something clinic or whatever, and I've got certificates from it. And they cleaned up. We were there for 4 hours, 5 hours, and I was not with it. But from there, we went to the bank to see if there's anything we could do, and so I said, I'd like to speak to your mum with personal information. Yeah, is that okay? I said, yeah, no, she can hear the information. That's fine. So we sat in a room, and we listened to over like a Skype type thing, and we had Michael and some other lady, and they were not in the room. But they said, oh, look, it's out of our hands. There's nothing we can do. It's out of our hands. And I was just sort of saying nothing because I was just I was out of it. And so, Mum was like, well, how do we get stuff? And you know, because I was saying, oh, they'll sell the house and because the place is worth double what the mortgage is. And so, you know, you've got to give me an opportunity to sell it, but I wasn't saying anything at this point because I was out of it. And they'd said, oh, look, we'll do that, and then the proceeds, you'll get the proceeds, and blah, blah, blah. And Mum was sort of saying, oh, that's a positive. I'm thinking, yeah, well, we can't trust them. Either way, I then find out on the weekend that my mum, because I had asked them for my transact everything, but they told me they weren't able to give it to me. And then I found out my mum, she could do a drop down on her account at the same bank, and my home loan came up and all these details. So she had just printed off, here's 12 months worth. And I was like, what? How did you get that? And she goes, oh yeah, someone's beyond bank rang me this morning, and they asked if you wanted them to arrange to pick up to get a removalist to pick up your property. And I was like, what? What are they talking to you for? If they said this out of their hands, and how have you got access to this when I wasn't able to get it? So I then realised they made her a signatory to the account. And I was like, it's dodged what's going on, because the other thing is, my mum had discovered she had a $20,000 mortgage to be on bank that they'd never touched. It was on it when they did some extensions to the house and never used the money, but Beyond Bank put a lien on the property because she's gone for a credit card and it's come in a credit check. So she got all angry about this and said, you need to go get the title for your house back from Beyond Bank. This is months ago. She came back and they said, oh no, it's all right. I didn't use any of the money and it's gone, but they're not discharging it. I said, well, you need to get the title. No, I've got to pay lands and titles, $300 and something. I said, no, that's nonsense. It's because part of the mortgages, and they set aside the discharge of the mortgage money, so that because you've already paid for it, you pay for it part of the deal. So they didn't do it. They said no, she had to pay $300. So they've still got that over the house. So as in the back of my mind, and that's always been there. And so then with this situation, they then sneakily put her as a signatory without me knowing, and already have a lien on her place with money that she never even used, or credit that she never even touched, but haven't discharged it. And then they've added mine, and not only that, they've like talked up the figures. So I'll even very briefly, because the phone's about to die, I'm going to go. I just went through this before. This is only 12 months, the last 12 months. It's all Piper Alderman. They've had $12,146.80 from Piper Alderman. There's even ones here that are old capitals. Well, that's old capitals. That just happens to be just nearly $4,000. The other ones don't say that, but it looks like in the last 12 months they've just been jacking up the interest rate. And then even if this thing settled in May or something, if it never went to court, but if it went to court in May or in June when these were doctored as being signed, well, they didn't stop cranking up interest and whatnot, and legal things well after it was supposed to already been some action. the latest one from Piper Alderman is like 17th of October. And it's like $1,200 or something. So out of this whole thing, it's like half of that, no more. I don't know. I'll just have a quick. And I've got to go. Yeah, it's interest. It's all interest and what these legal costs. But the point is, none of the other things legally seem to have happened. And then all of a sudden, wasn't until just before, earlier today, I looked at this, or today, and I went, hang on, 16th of November, that was just the other day. Right? Because they put my interest rate went all the way up to 7.08, right, from 3.79, and it says to 0. And I was like, what? But that's because on this day they put it into my mum's name. I went in there on the 17th or the 18th, or I found out the 18th, and I think went back in on the Monday, whatever that was, as soon as I could. And was like, nah, separate it. I didn't authorise that. My mum went ballistic the other day. There's another issue that's happened, and it's these cops. They're just trying to antagonise the situation. And it wasn't until I was back home, and I'm like, I saw this. I'm like, hang on. So she's obviously knowing what's going on. I don't presume too much, but it's all pretty shady. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that for now. We go, it's extremely shady, you know. To say the least. Thanks. Nice load, all that. And these didn't change. I mean, these are not. This is not orders. This is not a legal document. This does not constitute. This doesn't meet the criteria here. So let's not presume we've passed this stage way back here. I actually don't think we passed the stage of determining that there's even a claim of this particular bank, because that's not who my mortgage was with. But anyway, let's not get into that. Part of all this nonsense, it was like an act. And my mum's thinking, the terrible things are going to happen, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I've been coming here every day for a week, like seeing the neighbours, the Lord, like, you know, getting everything's all right. Because this is my property. It's still, the whole title's mine. It never hasn't been. It's just that they put on a pretty good, scared the crap out of everyone. And it's like, well, if this happened, then this must have happened. Everyone's presumed the rest. But beyond that, they've not actually sent me anything in writing to qualify the assertion or the presumption that, say, my mum, for example, others are making on the situation. Because the sheriff doesn't want to, no, I'm not supposed to catch up with the sheriff. Brendan's like, no, speak to Michael. Oh, well, it was out of their hands. But then they're ringing my mum after they put it into her name. Out of their hands? What's going on? Point is, it's in my hands. That's the end of yeah. So, and perhaps that's what they meant. Who knows? But, it's a funny show. I think what I forgot to say then is that Beyond Bank never had my consent to come on my property. And so that's kind of, they kind of didn't. I got arrested. They broke in, well, some cops did that can't be found, took me away to Chrissy's Beach. While I was away at Chrissy's Beach, someone changed my locks. They had a locksmith here. Obviously, they broke in. When I left, the sheriff was here, and there's apparently Brendan and a bunch of cops that don't seem to work for Christie's Beach or Sturt. And then it's like I came back here, then I got arrested by some Sturt police officers because they had a bail agreement at Christie's Beach that said I was supposed to live here. And he read it out. It says you got to live. I said, yeah, well, reside here for this bail agreement. I said, yeah, well, that's where I am. You're trying to take me away now from where I'm supposed to be. So, we got to fix the address. So they dragged me away, left me at Christie's Beach. So it's like, so what are they? Is it arguably, because it's like a mystery. It's just like some prank, like, you know, someone just locked all my shit up. And then it was like, because we didn't know how to get any stuff. And then you know, Beyond Bank, or Michael, apparently Beyond Bank, gets Brendan to call us. And Brendan's real, you know, quite nervous, edgy seems as he meets here and asks him some questions and we get bits and pieces. And, you know, and that was it. And I said, what do I do? Well, you speak to Michael. What? So it's like, because the thing is, they're not allowed access to my property. It's mine. But they never notified me. They didn't get my consent to So what they've done is effectively, you know, there's been an orchestrated way in which I was physically removed from the property. And then while I was removed, it was like, all right, quick, change the locks. You know, that's the extent of the situation at this point. Because it's mine, so I've got the title, so it's still mine. Everything, it's mine. So I think it's like that. It's expected if I just didn't come back, then it's like, yeah, they just would claim it. Because what it says in those orders is like, the sheriff will cause the dodgy orders, will cause the respondent to hand over possession. That didn't happen. And there was no lawful. Anyhow, I was going to stop now. It was just I was going to try and say that bit right.